Welcome back to episode 8 of our challenge, getting all the healers to 2500. This is a 0 to hero for 7 different healers, and it has lasted months, but I have had a blast with you guys. Let's take a look at where we left off in the last episode. On this picture, you can see that we were actually racing our Discipline Priest and our Holy Priest. You guys voted for me to do that, and it's been so much fun. Up until this point, we've done like one key on one character, then logged out, done another key on the other character, so they've been going back and forth with the Paladin having done one more key than the Disc Priest. But for this episode, just for efficiency's sake, we're going to kind of stick to one healer for the sake of the video and then go back to the other healer. And I'm going to tally up how many dungeons it takes for each of these to get across the finish line and then come back with the results at the end of this video. It's a lot of fun. Oh, and we still have Holy Priest and Preservation of Ochre to do, but that's okay. Once we get these two knocked out of the way, those will be the final two that we can funnel all of our time into. So let's go ahead and check out what the vaults look like for both of these characters. So if there's a belt, we take it. If there's a haste piece or a good trinket, we take that as well. Oof. No belt, which is horrible. No haste either. They also are in the position where they have like one very undergeared piece. Let me see which one it is. Oh, it's the wrist piece. So the wrist piece is the equivalent of the belt on the Disc Priest. But the good thing about this character is our trinket situation is really good and our weapon situation is actually pretty good too. We got 2 rings. I'm not really mad about it. The verse will be much needed, so I think we'll just go this one. As you see, the vaults weren't super big hits, but as we get into the Disc Priest keys, one thing that you guys asked for in the last episode was for more of an explanation of what I learned about each spec and their hurdles during this process. For Discipline Priest, the reason I always mention low haste is a problem is because each damaging cast you do while in your cooldown reduces that cooldown. So what you see top end fully geared Disc Priest do is spawn their Mindbender and then spam a bunch of things like Smite in that window to completely reset the cooldown and have an insane uptime on their major cooldown. However, I don't have that luxury. You can see my haste in the top left corner. It's so low that it throws our entire cooldown cycle off. Normally when boss mechanics happen, you can pair your Mindbender with a few different buttons like Rapture and cycle those other buttons while always pairing them with at least a Mindbender. But in our case, I was having to use Mindbender as a standalone cooldown that filled the gaps between our other cooldowns like Barrier and Rapture that were also having to be used as standalone cooldowns sometimes. It was just very, very awkward. I think that's a big reason why the bosses in this dungeon were extra rough, because I wasn't often able to use cooldowns effectively or efficiently, or I had to sit on my Mindbender for a long time, like a couple seconds, 20 seconds, as people rotted because I knew that I would need it in those 20 seconds. We're dead. There's nothing I can do. Honestly, only one death there is kind of crazy. Dude, I think this is my second time ever pulling this boss, so. He said, I'll go pee, be right back. Ah! I need to just go ahead and move out there. We got kind of juked there, though. My cast is not going off. That is so brutal. Well, we're back. We got the Agent of Chaos over here. I also need to get, I'm just stacking on the Druid. Dude, where is he going? There's no rhyme or reason. After City of Threads, though, we clearly have a lot of practice and work to do. And also, it's just not worth our time to attempt this dungeon again until we have better gear for Disc. I mean, this is the hard dungeon, so we might as well save it for last, kind of, or save it as the final hurdle, meaning that we need way more haste. Also, with our cast being so slow, bosses that made me move were extra hard because I can't like stutter step and get a smite cast in. Instead, I would just have to wait and wait for the movement to be done, like wait for the orbs to stop hurtling at me and then hope everyone survives and then plant at the end and start casting. I just couldn't stutter step and cast like you can on other specs. But moving on to the next few dungeons with this priest, I took those failures and mistakes as a learning experience. And although it was brutally difficult and it looks like an unsalvageable disaster, something in me told me that this was still doable. I was improving, I was getting better, and I felt more confident in the rotation. So, in order to get good results in my current situation, I had to master a lot of nuances within the spec and learn some more tricks. First, learning that you can Mind Blast before you Power Word Radiance to get more healing in the long run as opposed to burst healing was a big like trick or tip that I learned. Before I was just using Mindbender and then Radiance and then Mind Blast just for big burst healing right at the start of that window. But a lot of times you don't need that explosion of healing right at the start of your ramp. You just need to steadily heal all throughout. And that's when one of my viewers, one of you guys actually pointed out that if you Mind Blast before the Radiance, yes, you may not have that Mind Blast heal many atonements while they're still active, but by following up your Mind Blast with a Radiance, your atonements are still going to be active when your Entropic Rift pops, which is huge. That's huge healing later on, which just adds up to a really good, solid, smooth ramp all the way throughout. Also, swapping a few talents like swapping back to Death and Madness really kicked out a ton of healing and damage because we can Shadow Word Death twice now instead of just once, and that's a big pop of damage and a big pop of healing. Also, just being more willing to rely on Rapture to heal mechanics that also require movement, as well as using pain suppression on a DPS, plus my own defensive, allowed me to commit a lot less cooldowns toward each mechanic, and it made healing through mechanics feel way more fluid. However, like I said, I just was not used to pressing Rapture and I just didn't know how much I can lean on that spell, so learning to trust it with certain mechanics was a big learning curve in and of itself. These few things alone led to a ton of growth and way more variety in how I healed as Disc Priest, and it allowed us to bash some of these mid-level dungeons to open up the door to the end game plus 10s and plus 11s that would get us to that coveted 2500 IO. But learning from these mistakes that I was making all throughout these mid-level keys, instead of letting them tilt me like I did back in Season 3 of Dragonflight, gave me some much needed confidence in my play and my decision making. I was cycling Fade and Flash Heal on myself for the free mitigation, and I was also shielding allies before they would get targeted by mechanics, just little things like that that added up to a lot of success percentage that made us more successful. Meanwhile, our haste was slowly growing thanks to some lucky gear rolls and a few enchants that I had forgotten to do. Plus, I was using those Valor Stones on any haste pieces that I had, and I was ready for the final few keys to get us there so I could finally play my Paladin again. Gonna dot two of them so our debuff spreads. We're gonna save our penance for when we need to move. We're gonna get very clear of it. I shield the guy that gets marked. I'm gonna paint up the tank. Live, tank, live. I think we just rapture the tank here, if I'm being honest. We're ripping Mind Blast here too. I feel like it's just worth it. Try to keep the tank alive. Okay. Wow. That was a little sus. Off our defensive. Let's put down barrier. Good. Our mage moved into the barrier. One absolute gamer. Live. I feel so useless during the ad phase, but I just kind of have to sit here and heal, which is, hey, it's working. It's kind of our job, right? Unfortunately, we are going to 3-phase. We need to respect the tick. I just have to plant and cast. We can get these orbs, though. Uh-oh. Okay, I saw Volley almost go off there. Watch the frontal. Okay, we did it. Wow, that bolt came to me. Oof. Huge pull up here. He has orb. Okay. I feel like this... I don't know, this warrior's doing a lot of Shadowlands things, which is kind of fun. So that we can, If we got the arrow, we can move really quickly. We're gonna have to re-atonement there. But also needed, if I did get the puddle, I needed to bait that too. So I think that positioning accomplished kind of both of those things. Yeah, most wholesome streamer. I don't think so. Blast! Okay. Almost just trolled there. Okay, barrier was good. We're gonna have to watch our timers. Popping our defensive there. Watch the timers. We're gonna have to rapture this next one. Hope it's enough. Let's go and rapture around. Okay, it was enough. Woo! That timing is very sus. We do have a ramp now, though. What are the timers like? Hopefully I don't get marked again, because I am defensive light. Gonna flash heal myself. Let's do it again. Double death. Kill it, kill it. Nice. Okay, we're cruising. Woo! Okay, we played that very clean. We're gonna barrier this one because I don't know. I'm panicking. No, because I had to ramp a bit early there. We'll save our radiance charges. Rapture around. We got darkness too. Ooh, love to see it. Let's fade. Let's ramp. Ooh, that's a weird lust timer. Flash heal ourselves. Those orbs. Oh, this is gonna be so brutal. I don't have anything. Oh, this is going to be a very tough one. This is going to be so brutal. So fat. Oh, that's so fat. God, this spec is so satisfying sometimes. It like, literally... nothing else matches that. Like, think of like the best, like, I don't know, if you're someone who likes zip popping videos or something, think of the best one you've ever seen. Doesn't even come close. That was so unbelievably satisfying. Our Mind Blast hit, and it was almost like I hit like 3 revivals in one. Like, that was so juicy. Oh man, that was fat. Shield Dale. We don't have Radiance. What do we have? We have Barrier. No, Dale! You will be missed. I think we're fine. Hey, 88 IO. Honestly, we kind of cranked. There. Let's not die. Okay. I think I want to ramp on pool, so let's go and do that. Let's Radiance again before that explosion goes off. Our Rift explodes during that. I do like that. I like just ramping on pool here, giving us a lot more time to cycle. We might be able to ramp on these ads. Okay, actually the ads are dying super fast, so Now I'm thinking we will not be able to reset. Let's go and put down barrier, I guess, because we don't have our ramp. It's not a pretty one, but now we'll have ramp for this next ricochet in 4 seconds. Just stalling. Ooh. People, what are we doing? I almost did the same, though. Alright, let's ramp here. Ricochet in 3 seconds. So I'll save my penance, I guess. And our rift's about to pop. Ooh, so nice. It's annoying. It's really annoying on Disc Priest. Holy crap. Man, Disc Priest is so chill. Even though that cash just silenced us for our entire ramp, just knowing that I couldn't have permanently stopped it is just so nice, you know? I feel like one orb slipped through the boss. Let's go and Rapture here. Those big shields on everyone. Yeah, that was pretty nice. Ooh, our tank is just going through it. We need to just blast, and we lost our tank. Yikes. Oh yeah, we're wiping here. I mean, 9 stacks of the affix. Let's fade. Reduce some of that damage coming in. Gotta manually apply my atonement there because the guy is not targetable. Or not within range, sorry. Run! Okay, yeah. See, we were blasting this dungeon. Even through all those mistakes, we had plenty of time. I think I yeeted someone. Oops. That's okay. Honestly, like, we're at the point where we can do these keys now. I'm glad that we timed this. I wish we would have timed it with more time. So we could have +2'd it. That way we can go into an 11. Because I feel like we're 11 ready. We finally took this confidence and haste back into City of Threads for a much cleaner run. Team. I want to see some good plays from you guys, because y'all know I'm not going to be making them. Go and ramp here. Let's PI the warrior. I know he's second on DPS, but I have faith. Dark Pulse in 8. Run Rapture around. Got a little spooky, that orb. I was debating whether we just ignore it or grab it, and I ended up grabbing it, and it was more spooky than I thought, so never again. I will step out of the way of them from now on. One thing that I had picked up from our failed run at the beginning of this video is that PIing these last 2 bosses on pool is kind of a trap. Yes, it might help your DPS, which is arguably better, but saving it for the first ramp that we did, or the first, led to much better results because it just compensated for our lack of haste and let us cycle for when we needed our second ramp. The warrior's kind of getting clobbered by these orbs. Just leave him down, honestly. Ugh. Nice, we got the immune. Got our ramp for this. I'm a little behind on the movement. These renews around, I guess. Go ahead and flash heal ourselves. Power word shield. The boss is empowered. Okay, honestly, pretty good so far. Other than the warrior literally forgetting what the orbs do. Oh. Need to get this atonement off or radiance off. It's PI. Had to use our externals there. Man, having the freedoms on this boss is so nice, man. Let's just rapture into the tank. Oh, it can be done. Oh, man. Now, this was very easily the biggest challenge that we faced on the Disc Priest, but there were still some dungeons that we needed to clean up for IO. However, after the City of Threads, we absolutely smashed through the rest. Ooh. Mind Blast. Ooh. Hey, 2503. I did not think that this dungeon would get us there. And with that key, our disc crosses the finish line and joins the ranks of our monk and resto specs. But now let's tell the story of the Paladin to see if it took less keys than the Disc Priest. Picking up from last episode, we had just swapped to the more meta build of Avenging Crusader and Lightsmith. I could immediately tell why this build was more popular at the top end, but that didn't mean that it came easy. There were growing pains, and I mean a lot of them. For starters, this build cycles its cooldowns way differently than the build that I was used to. It also felt more global heavy or more global dense at certain times, which made it less obvious when I should press something like Beacon of Virtue. After a few reps, though, I did start to understand how and when to pair Beacon of Virtue with our other cooldowns, but also that pairing it up with Hammer and Anvil procs was insanely good. However, as great as Hammer and Anvil's healing was when you crit, it was equally devastating when you were relying on a crit that never happened. At the start of this push, I was playing around them, but as time went on, I realized that playing around something that only has like roughly a 25% chance to happen is just not good. And I should just let it be a great thing when that thing happens in the background while I don't rely on it too. This took some time, but it was the biggest breakthrough that we had on the Paladin, and it helped our key success rate go up a lot. However, with that being said, we failed a lot of keys on the Paladin. Now, I don't think they were all my fault. We definitely had an unlucky amount of stinkers in these groups, but I still did let an uncharacteristically large number of deaths slip through, which is saying a lot for me, I'll admit. These are defensive. Also wings there, because we had the debuff on ourselves. on me again. Oof. We can like lay on hands ourselves if we need to. Yeah, luckily I had that available.
I need to target something first.
On me again. Oh no. Oh, sick rescue heal. Just make sure we don't get the orb. Okay, he got the orb. We're gonna sack him.
Your ascension
Oh god, I'm trying.
is complete.
Go ahead and wings. Ugh. Oh god, it's on me, the debuff. Need to be able to Crusader Strike though. Okay, we see that it's on the warrior. Live, Evoker, live! Oh, that got so close. My holy shocks were hitting him as he was like dying. He was on death's bed there. Who's it on? It's on the Evoker again. Stand back. Man, I would love to have one of those crit. We're gonna give a weapon here. A shield. Woo! So much healing. Love to see it. Quickly after this big slam. There we go. That judgment crit. Ooh, that was so nice. That's the hardest overlap to do, is the third orb. It hits at the same time that decay starts. Ah! Easy. One thing I noticed pretty early on too is that you are so safe during your wings or your Avenging Crusader, but things get pretty hairy outside of them. So I really put emphasis outside of our wings by doing things like not stacking wings plus something like Aura Mastery for a big damage events. Instead, I would just use Aura Mastery outside of wings to help smooth over the gap between our cooldowns. Same with Beacon, but to a much lesser extent, as this was just a major source of all of our maintenance healing. So I would use that for big uptime outside of our wings and not really care if I had it for my wings. A massive improvement though that you'll see in these clips, as well as our use. A huge improvement that you're going to be seeing in these clips, as well. A huge improvement that you're going to be seeing in these clips as well was our usage of the Lightsmith hero talent tree. You know, I had just swapped from Herald of the Sun to this, which comes with a new button that I was just, honestly, I was forgetting to press. This whole tree is built around gifting an ally a sword or a shield, yet in a lot of these clips, you're going to see me sitting on both of the charges. That's what that big shield or sword icon is in the middle of the screen. This is a big thing that I don't really talk about a lot, but when you're learning new specs, especially if you're trying to learn all 7 healers in their current playstyle at the same time, a lot of times you forget some of the basics or just forget about certain buttons and that they exist. My brain was so focused around grasping the new rotation that I was trying that it just would forget that these weapons or this button existed, despite them being an absolutely integral cog in this build's success. But as we get more reps with the build, my brain does get a bit more comfortable with rotation and the spec quirks, and I promise you I do start pressing this button a lot more. The sword half of it is honestly just passive damage, which yes is very important, but the main thing that I care about is the shield for this challenge. Whenever we give someone else the shield, both of us get a 15% of my HP shield that also rolls more shields for a few seconds. A spell like this is an absolute blessing for this spec that has a lot of shock healing in its kit because it can allow us to shield half of the squishies in the group, so like myself and a DPS at the same time because we share the shield, and then shock heal the other 2 squishies through a mechanic. This was also incredible for combating dots or putting it on allies to help slow down the damage so our cooldowns can actually do their thing. This was the real final piece of the Paladin puzzle that once we finally got it to click, we lowered the number of deaths that we were letting slip through, and thus we finally started pushing some meaningful keys and getting some IO. Divine Toll here. Oh, it's Social Pull the boss. This is probably a wipe. immune. It's Aura Mastery. If we recover from this, we can do anything. I say that as someone dies. There's no way we recover from that. That was the ugliest start to this fight I think I've ever seen. Because obviously people can put up some pretty insane numbers. We have Divine Toll here with Beacon. Okay, that was very sus. The start to that fight, plus the tank dying to the swirly, was not promising looking, but we somehow managed. I think we immune this one. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. Oh god, we lagged. Oh god, I think I launched someone. I have no idea. Pretty sure we launched someone into the ether, but that's fine. I don't know what that was, but my whole screen just froze. Huge judgment crit there. We really needed that. And targeting the tank there. Okay, we got kind of lucky there. Did we two chests? 4.5 minutes left. Oh, the mage landed into his death. Oh, we're still 50 short. At this point, our progress was starting to weigh us down a bit, and we still had a blue wrist piece weighing our item level down. I'll be honest, it was this point where I was kind of tired of playing the Holy Paladin, and I had heard so much hype around Prot Paladin, so off stream I decided I was going to just grind for a wrist piece, but I was going to play my Prot Paladin alt, and none of the IO, I would not get any IO on it, trust me, all of my IO is Holy Paladin IO, but I ran a single, just one key, and I did get it to drop. And I was really trying to focus keys that could drop us a wrist piece, and luckily I did get a wrist piece. I got a wrist piece, so we finally get the achievement War Within Epic on the Paladin. It's way overdue. So we took our new toy and took it straight into Stone Vault, a key that we still had, but this key is very tough, especially some of the bosses. Left 2 behind. Nice. Super clean first boss. Excellent group. I have high hopes. Give a weapon. We're going to have to pop some cooldowns here. Let's Aura Mastery. Let's Beacon. Oh, that cast is going off. Unfortunately, we only have one ranged character for the range kick. We're going to have to focus the big gun. Now, unfortunately, this wipe came back to bite us as we only missed time by a few minutes, and it's such a shame because this group was actually so good. This group was insane, one of the best pug groups I've had all season. I do think we were all under geared across the board, so like our damage was a bit low, so we were probably cutting it close, not doing ourselves any favors. But this wipe was tragic. It was a tough one to watch and to understand, and it did set us back because, like I said, we only missed time by just a few minutes, and that was probably that wipe. We're just gonna face tank this. We're 27 away. Oh man. Why the heavens? But we quickly shook this key off because I don't think we made a ton of mistakes in that key, and we took our final piece of mythic gear into our final dungeon, and we absolutely smashed it home. How beginner friendly is HP? God, this guy is so annoying in my group. I'd say it's on the more beginner friendly side. I think like any healer can be beginner friendly, but any healer also can be just a nightmare to play. It kind of all depends on personal preferences and like what your experience is, you know. But I think it's pretty nice. You basically, to put it like to oversimplify it, you press Beacon of Virtue before you press any other cooldown because it just enhances what you'll do during it. And then you pair it with your other few cooldowns. Man, that hurts. So like I'll Beacon here. We're just pumping into health bars. That's all we're doing. And that's cleaving on other health bars because of Beacon. You just punch and kick things until you get to enough holy power to spend it, which is 3, and you spend it on a healing button. This is the first Grim Battle where we've had a tank do the corner strat correctly in a long time. Stun that guy, protect Big Pimp. Stop that cast. Shield slam. I think our tank needs to kite here. They're scaring me a bit. Can we still time this? I think it's possible, especially if we skip here. Okay. Focus, 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 focus. I'll let them deal with the things. Tank, do not die. Do not die, tank. Pop our defensive. We'll sack this guy, because I think our defensive's still rolling. Oh yeah, that sack was nice. Okay, don't take that out of context. When I say that sack was nice, clearly talking about the Blessing of Sacrifice. We have Divine Toll. Do we need Divine Toll? We don't. That's very nice to know. Beacon's enough for that. Come pop a defensive. From Beacon. We have Beacon for this next pulse, which is coming now. Got our free wings proc. Actually, I should just play into that. Crusader Strike, Crusader Strike. Judgment. Gonna use our Holy Shocks and then pull up our resources here. We still have wings. Let's go ahead and gift a shield to the tank. We are stacked horribly. Got 3 people sitting in it. Let's lay on hands. That lay on hands might get us killed though. We might get aggro here. Uh-oh. It's okay, we got 4 B-reses. That is just our job. We are the B-res button guy. Shield the tank. What do we have? Oh, we did it. 25-10. 25-10. And dude, Big Pimp was out of here. So as you can see, we grinded so hard to get both of these healers across the finish line within the same amount of time. I did keep track of how many keys it took each class or each spec to cross the finish line, and those numbers are: the Paladin, it took 13 more dungeons to get across the finish line. It took 13 more dungeons. Let that sink in. I was able to get my Disc Priest, which is arguably my worst healer personally, across the finish line in 13 less dungeons than the Paladin. Now, I don't think Paladin is that much worse than Disc Priest at the current level that we're playing at. However, this is pretty shocking, no pun intended. I do think that a lot of this was due to me swapping my build and having to kind of relearn a bit of the rotation, and then Disc Priest on the other hand is just, it's Disc Priest. Let's be real, that rotation is, you know, I'm not going to say it, but it's not as complex as some of the other healers. So I do think that that had to play a lot into it. I was kind of starting from ground zero on the Paladin. And on top of that, we did have a lot of keys on the Paladin where we failed the first pool and then like the tank left or something. So I don't know if I should have counted those, but I did because the Disc Priest just didn't encounter those. We could just, you know, pain sup the tank or grip the person out of the swirly or something. Like, I don't know. It just, this was pretty shocking to me. But with both of these healers out of the way, let's take a look at where we are at now. Yeah, like I said at the start of the video, we still have 2 characters left and they're both lagging behind quite a bit. But now that our Disc Priest is done, we can just swap our spec to Holy Priest and then tackle all of these keys at hopefully a one-shot plus 10 or plus 11 level. Hopefully we don't have to get practice keys in or too many of them, and we can just grind out all of these keys on our Holy Priest. And then at that point, it's just the Evoker that we have to do. But guys, that's been the video. This one took so long to make, so I would really appreciate it if you hit the like button on your way out. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss episode 9, and then the finale, episode 10, will be so exciting. I'm excited to make those, but like I said, this took so long to make, so I would really appreciate you hitting that like button. Make sure and stay tuned though, and check out the stream on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 1 p.m. Central if you want to hang out with me and watch me blast some of these keys on these last 2 characters. Guys, this one's been fun. This stretch of the challenge has been such a blast, but I think it's only to get more fun as we open up the Holy Priest. I can see that spec being so much fun to play. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Until then, take care, guys.